Cool. But, dude, I always start off on the right foot, man. Got you this.
This will rock for sure. I'm a hat guy.
Yeah, we're baseball guys, dude.
Well, I am.
Couple books.
Awesome, dude. I was just telling my wife about this.
And then,
thank you. I didn't even know it was a hard copy. I thought it was an ebook.
boom.
This is awesome. Dude.
Got you your own
This
stickers,
is hilarious.
man. I got some other ones for you.
I don't know
I'll
who
get
will
after,
take
but-
these, but I'll have a shitload of roll of.
Yeah, you can put them on whatever.
Yeah,
man.
that's hilarious.
I think there's like, I don't know, 60 or 100 in there. I'm not sure how many, but.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Appreciate
dude.
it.
This your first time in D.C.?
Ever.
Holy shit.
So I have, at the beginning of the year, I did a little vlog about not doing New Year's resolutions and trying to make like a life bucket list that you want to try and check at least 3 things off before the end of the year.
Oh, I like it, man.
And one of mine was 3 places I haven't been before. 'Cause
Yeah.
one of our goals, family-wise, is to go to like 2 countries a year. We go on 2
cool.
big vacations. Last year we went to Ireland and Scotland. Was it the year before? Yeah. The year before or earlier in the year, we went to France and
Nice.
Spain. We've been to Dominican. We got married in Mexico. Go to Mexico, it's easy from
Yeah,
Arizona. But
so
I've tried to be to all the major cities in America already, but
Nice.
I've never been to D.C.
Oh,
at
man.
all. And it's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I mean, it's not that I had no premonition about it. I've never heard otherwise, other than it's really, really crowded per capita. It's like the most crowded city in the country, and the traffic's terrible.
Traffic's awful.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was walking at 9:00 at night, and it was bumper to bumper.
Oh, dude, that's
in the
normal.
downtown.
Yeah, we don't go into D.C. without mentally preparing ourselves for the traffic.
I mean, I'm used to it. Chicago is awful.
Chicago's
I mean,
terrible.
awful. So traffic doesn't really get me like it does in Arizona. People complain about it, and it's not even stop. It's like traffic with
just
a lot
people
of cars.
together.
I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this is not traffic. This isn't traffic at all. But I really like it, dude. It was. It's super cool at night, super pretty at night. I took some really cool pictures that I accidentally,
saw
they
that.
turned out really good. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
dude, this is awesome. But I'd like to probably spend more time here. And you're the only person I know here now, so I might come back for sure.
It's a great
especially in the
place, man.
spring and the fall and the summer.
It's one of those places like I tend to rag on it sometimes because of the traffic. The people are not the kindest people here. It's kind of like that New York kind of drip
really?
down to this area,
Yeah.
right? That New York style of personal whatever. Like
Personal
people,
space,
Yeah,
yeah.
people aren't
Get
the
out of it,
friendliest.
yeah.
Yeah. But once I leave, I always miss it, man.
You
I'm
do?
like, yeah, because it's a nice area, dude.
I mean, I used to be like that about Chicago, and then the more I lived outside of Chicago, I had like it's always about you are how you grow up,
Yeah.
and that is the epitome of me. So for the last 5 years, I've tried to do some sort of personal growth, self-awareness type of stuff, and I don't know if it's being on the West or being in Arizona or just being outside of Chicago itself. It's I'd be able to see what that part of the city or the country, I should say, does to you personality-wise.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chicago's relatively friendly, though.
It
right?
is,
I mean,
the city
Midwestern
itself
people.
is friendly, okay?
Yeah.
Where I'm from, on the south side in the burbs, and it's when people say south side, they automatically think guns, murdering gangs. I don't live on that south side. I live the south suburbs, far south for some people. It's like 20 minutes outside of the city.
Yeah.
But it's blue collar, which is cool. I'm fine
Sure.
with that. But it's a negative mentality where I, from my point of view of what I've learned from being out of it, it's never a support system. It's your community was never, my community was never a support system. Their terms of endearment are making fun of you or hoping that you fail or making fun of you if you fail or whatever. And and you know me a little bit, and you could see that in me a little bit. Like and I'm trying to get away from it, but being online in our business, it drives me nuts sometimes. And then I kind of go hard on people I think I don't like, even though I don't know them. I just what they put out there, and I go hard on them, and I don't give them the benefit of the doubt. And there's people I've met after the fact that I actually really like that I did not like from their online persona. So I'm trying to stop to do that, but I feel like maybe DC is a little bit like that when it comes to Chicago.
Yeah, because I mean it's a political environment,
Yeah.
right? You have, well, I mean you have a lot of
Lines down the middle.
yeah, a lot of people divided over
Yeah.
certain issues, and there's always something going on downtown, whether it's a protest or like even today. Today's the impeachment final verdict for
Oh,
Trump,
yeah.
right? So there's obviously a political
Yeah.
atmosphere here, and there's so many government jobs. There's, you know, it's there's also Georgetown, which is a very wealthy area, wealthy to do area, and I don't know. It's just kind of a mix of upper class with what you see in Chicago, right? Which is very
Severe lower class.
severe low class, yeah. And the surrounding area. So like you have Baltimore, which is not that far from here, Maryland suburbs, and then you have Northern Virginia, which is also in one of the wealthiest parts of the country. So you have like almost a severe divide financially, right? And DC's kind of that middle ground
Yeah.
where you kind of mix everything together.
It seems like a super cool city for young adults,
Definitely,
like
yeah.
25 to 35 or something to that effect.
My
after
wife
college.
loves it here, and she grew up in Germany, and so she moved over here in her mid to late teens, and she loves DC. Like it's her favorite city.
Well, that was one of the things. We'll get into that, but I was wondering why you're here. Did you grow up here, or are you from
yeah,
here? Oh,
yeah.
you are. Okay.
No, I'm from Chicago.
Oh,
like yourself.
I know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. You know, you live here, but all your fan favorite stuff is Chicago.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I'm diehard, but I'm northwest suburbs,
Yeah.
Chicago, but similar deal. Grew up in hardworking area. People were usually not leaving that area. It was like, hey, if we're here, we're not leaving. But my mom married a military guy. So
Oh yeah.
next thing you know, we're traveling the world.
over the place, yeah.
So DC is just another stop for me in the in the journey.
And
but-
that's how Arizona is for me. I mean, I don't love it there. It's good for what it's
Yeah.
good for, and ideally we want to be somewhere with land, maybe Northern California, West Coast. I don't want to be anywhere near the East Coast anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I've gotten used to the fact of having mild weather all the time, so I like that. You know,
Sure.
if I don't have to shovel, I don't want to shovel.
Oh yeah, man.
Unless it's in Tahoe. I'll live in Tahoe.
Tahoe's amazing.
It's the best.
Here, you get the occasional big snowstorm. Like we had snow, I don't know, it was like a month or and a half ago or something like that. It was gone in a day though. It's come, you sled, you have fun for a day, and then you don't shovel really at all because it's melting.
Yeah.
As you're kind of playing it, and then you might have another big storm. Usually 2 or 3 snows max per winter.
A
time.
winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You get the cold
a lot
temperature,
less.
but
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Which is
nothing
fine with
unbearable.
me.
Yeah.
I don't love 120. It's
120
120
is
for
rough.
6 days, or 6 days, 6 months a year.
Yeah.
It's draining. It makes you in a bad mood. It's crazy.
I know, man. That weather's a lot. Like people don't realize, but like one of the reasons that Northern Virginia is so popular, where it's one of the wealthiest areas, is because of the weather. Because you have all 4 seasons and you don't have anything too extreme.
It's not extreme.
Yeah. So like summertime, you get in the 90s, right? But you'll never reach
Is
100
it
degrees.
super humid?
There's some humidity, but it's not unbearable.
No,
it's not
it's
like
not
you're
like
sitting out there
Florida.
like,
Yeah.
it's like Texas. Texas
Yeah.
has like that awful humidity.
It's awful.
It's not like
I
that.
lived there for a long time.
Yeah, so it's it's got a little bit of everything. You can get to the mountains here too. You can get up to Ski, which is only like an hour and a half away, and then the Virginia Beach area where I went to
Yeah.
high school.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so that's only 3.5, 4 hours away.
That had to be awesome.
I mean, it was cool. Similar deal though, man.
Yeah.
Like Southside Chicago. It's like people are just not. It's not a good environment.
It's not, man. And it's so weird that you don't know what you don't know
Yeah.
until you leave seeing it from afar and see, like, I could have never 15 years ago been like, I hope he does good. I hope he does good. I hope that's never how that was never my mentality, and
Yeah.
it's just so crazy to think that they have nothing to do with me. So of course you should flourish and do everything that you want to be able to do,
100%.
and I praise that, I celebrate that, I support that, and that was never
Yeah.
something that I did.
It's hard, man. I mean, because when you're raised in an environment where people feel like things are scarce, right? Like, oh, I don't know how, the chances of getting success are slim, maybe just because of all the things that have come before them, generations before them. You start to adopt this mentality that there's not a lot of opportunity out there. So you have to fight for every little thing.
Yeah.
And if you see somebody else getting it, you start to think, well, they got a piece of the pie that was supposed to be mine.
And it's always jealousy driven. It's
Oh, for
never
sure.
anything other than your issues with yourself, not them.
Yeah, it's always internal. Man.
Yeah.
Always. That's crazy.
That's the problem. It's like everyone there, unfortunately, for the most part, has a 9 to 5 or a longer job that they are a trade. All this stuff is great. And if you love it, that's great. My perspective of the people around there is that they have to do it. That's what they have to do, and because of that, they have already. I don't want to say they hate everything, but they just have. They're not happy all the time, and that can really drain on how you are as a person.
Sure.
It just rubs off on people. Just walking around the city, I was there last week and last weekend, and it just seemed like everybody was angry all the time.
Man.
And that could have been the weather. The sun had not been out for 2 weeks, so it could have been that.
It's the Chicago winter.
I mean, it was nasty.
Yeah.
It happened to pop out the last day I was there, but you can really see a difference walking around in a place that it feels like everybody is just like getting driven down by maybe what their jobs is, or not having sun, not being able to even exercise or do anything else, or making time to do that.
Yeah.
You could see how that would wear on people.
Environment's everything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's why I'm so careful with who I surround myself with now.
Yeah, I was going to get into that. So, I mean, for me, it's been an absolute game changer. Absolute. I grew up with some guys that were my lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And one specifically, my lifelong, like since I was 6. And about 6 years ago, some stuff happened, and I was like, look, I can't deal with this anymore. I mean, 100% shut him out. Never talk, wouldn't answer anything. And I'm not kidding. To the day it happened, my life completely started going upwards.
Wow.
It's crazy. And I did it with a couple other people that were close, but, from afar close. We grew up close, but because I've been moving all over the place. But I always thought it was bullshit, and I also think it's kind of bullshit when people say you're as good as your 7 closest people. But I have people that I've surrounded myself with that I rarely see, but I'm close with.
Yeah.
So that I don't think that it has to be people that you see on a daily basis. It just has to be maybe your circle of influence or friends or network or something to that effect. Like, you and I don't live close. I talk to you on a regular basis now.
Yeah.
Chappelle, I talk to him. Malik, I talk to daily now.
Yeah.
Brian is somebody that I don't talk to all the time, but I consider him a good friend, and I need advice. And those are the kind of people they're always pushing. Dude, I don't know harder workers than those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't know harder workers than those 3 guys.
Yeah.
And one of them doesn't even have to work hard if he doesn't want to. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And the other 2 know they see their eyes on the prize, and they are going for it, and they put it in every day. And the people I used to be around, it was work. They just worked because they had to. They didn't have something that they were trying to do and focus on and strive for and all that stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go to these things. How I met you, it's like maybe the event itself doesn't bring you a ton of value, but the people you meet at those things bring a ton of value.
I think about this all the time, having kids. One of the biggest lessons that I want them to learn is it does matter who you know, right? In a good and bad way.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes who you know can lead you in the opposite direction of where you want to go. But oftentimes, I mean, attitude is contagious, right? And so if I'm surrounding myself with guys like you who are trying to create something, trying to provide value, and trying to live up to your potential or exceed your potential in a lot of cases, that's going to just be contagious for me, right? I want to have a piece of that as well, right? I mean, I can't hang out with you if I'm like, hey, let's go smoke weed and drink beers all day, right? I mean, once in a while we could do that and be fun, but most of the time we're on the path of success to inspire people that we care about and take care of our families and stuff, right? And it's so easy though to get sucked into the other way, because on the surface there's a lot of seems easy, seems fun
in the moment.
Yeah. And you start getting deeper into it with these people, and you realize, wait a second, man.
It's every single day.
Bro,
you got a job? What are you doing?
Right.
I got a job. I mean, okay, wait. What are you doing? What are
Yeah.
you doing?
And we see this all the time with fitness, man. Like
Yeah.
we see, people who come to us for help, but at home, right, they have an environment that is the opposite of what they're trying to create for themselves.
Right.
Right. They want to change, but then it's like wife, kids, brother, sister, friends at work, whatever. They all want to go and do whatever they've been doing.
Right.
That's caused them to be where they are.
And when they come to us, they think, and this is my experience, they think I'm giving them like a meal plan and a diet plan and that, or a training plan, and then I don't know, like a magic wand that fixes everything. But that's not how we do it. I mean, that's not how our program doesn't do that. My questionnaire is super long to the point where maybe some people don't even fill it out and just don't want to do it, which is totally fine. If you can't fill out a friggin' questionnaire for me, then you're probably not going to succeed with what we're doing. But we try to figure out why you're not getting to where you're not getting to, because there's a reason that it's been this long that you're doing the way you're doing. Also, you have to have some patience because it took you 15 years to get to this point, and you think that, I don't know, in 1 month you're going to all of a sudden be back to what you were in your teenage
15
years.
days later.
Yeah, there's no – it doesn't work that way. You have to – the fitness, training, nutrition, all that stuff is a mental thing, number one, before it's the other physical stuff, number two, I think.
Oh, 100%, dude.
I mean, people you surround yourself with. If your husband, spouse, or whoever it is doesn't give a shit about what they eat and what is in the house, and they don't exercise and they don't support what you're doing, guess what? It's going to be really hard unless you are super focused and disciplined to get to where you want to go, because willpower is a problem for a lot of people that are struggling. And if your husband or wife is sitting there eating fucking pizza every day or got 10 bags of chips and ice cream and all that stuff, the chance I don't stop from eating that stuff. I can't imagine if I have a problem with food and that stuff's around me, how you're going to, it's like an alcoholic with
booze
alcohol. It's impossible.
Oh, terrible.
And people don't get it. They don't get it. Because food is something we have to have no matter what. It's not treated like alcohol or Narcotics Anonymous or any of that other stuff, because you have to eat it. You have to eat food. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle to tap into the mental part of it. And I think where a good coach comes into play is being like, when we hire people, I don't give two fucks about what your certifications. I don't care if you have 1 or 50. I don't care what your education is. My point is, one, if people like to be around you every day and you're not an asshole, and two, you can be personable with somebody and be able to have them talk to you back and forth. Then the other stuff, if you're not experienced, I can teach you how to be a good coach. Programming, although is a science, it's not hard once you learn how to do it. And teaching people how to eat correctly. If you're in this space and you don't know, then you're conning people. It's not hard. That's not people with all the, I got a program, we got this 60-day, it's the best ever. It's nothing that you haven't done, nothing I haven't done. That's not what makes you a good coach. A good coach is somebody that they feel comfortable telling you their shit. They feel comfortable saying when they fucked up, because most of the time they'll lie about it, and that doesn't do anybody any good. So the mental part is, I think, our biggest barrier to helping people do what they need to get done.
Oh, straight up. So you have a gym in Arizona. What kind of environment do you try to create at the gym?
So since I've had a few gyms, and all my gyms are, I try and make them community based. So we don't do personal training one-on-one. What we do is you have an assessment. We just started a new program for younger kids. It's called Starting Strength, but that is for them to learn the proper movements, and for parents to learn that the kids don't have to be 14 before they start lifting weights. You can be in our program at 8, 9 years old.
That's awesome. And
it's a month long of them getting drilled on how to hinge and how to squat right, and jumping, laterals, landing, which is a huge thing. But that's different. So when people join, they go through an assessment, and it's super brief, just stuff that hopefully, and we get their past injuries if they've ever worked out before. But you get a designed program. So we call it individualized program in a group setting. So we have an app, and it's True Coach, if you ever heard of it. And we set up an entire training plan around them individually, and then they come in at whatever time they sign up for, and there's people there working out on the floor
Yeah.
with a coach that coaches all of them in their program, but it's
nice.
in a group setting. So,
Oh, that's cool.
because 5 people are all different.
Yeah.
Me and you work out. I'm trying to do one thing. You're trying to do it. Why would we come in and do a workout of the day?
Yeah.
Fitness is fine. I mean, if you're just a general fitness person and you want to come in and get some movement done and lift some weights and have a workout of the day for that, that's fine. But where I think that misses the mark is doing like Olympic lifting, really specific kind of lifting in a group setting is weird.
Yeah.
It's just not. And trust me, I was the second CrossFit coach ever in Arizona, 15 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And I was drinking the Kool-Aid for quite a long time. But then I saw a pattern of unqualified coaching, people opening places that really had no business. They went to a weekend course and now they open it because they have money. They have a CrossFit gym. And I don't like heavy lifting for reps. I just don't like that. I mean, some people are fine with it. I mean, CrossFit athletes are nuts.
Yeah,
Those guys are next level stuff, man.
They're top level athletes.
And I have nothing. I use aspects of CrossFit and stuff that I do.
Sure.
And the reason we were called Hybrid Fit Club is because I've been in, it's like 26 years in fitness. Hybrid is one or two or more things combined together to form one philosophy.
Sure.
And so I've taken everything, college sports, professional, Olympic lifting, all that stuff, and put it into my philosophy. And it's not, I didn't reinvent the wheel. It's nothing that you don't do or anybody else doesn't do. But I just don't like to pigeonhole in nutrition or training into a dogmatic approach. I just don't like that.
Same here. I think it's short-sighted right, in a lot of ways because everybody's individual and everybody's going to need to find their niche, right? They're going to need to find what works for them. And it's hard if, you go into a gym and they're like, you have to do, hang cleans for time and then box jumps. And you're like,
that's a recipe for disaster.
I haven't even jumped off the couch. Like, what's going on? Yeah, I took I've never owned a CrossFit gym or anything, but I've gotten into it enough to experiment myself, and I was like, man, this is, for someone I consider myself athletic, it was very challenging.
It's very challenging. That's how I got into it. I did their baseline workout at a place called CrossFit Scottsdale. It's not there anymore. And I did it in like 6.5 minutes, and I was in the corner for like 45 minutes, dude.
Trying not to
I
puke.
couldn't. Yes, it was crazy, and I'm like, I'm in good fucking shape, man.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I looked into it, and that's how I got involved with it in the first place. But it's for a novice that's trying to get into a fitness space, they show up, and that's what they do. They're done. They're quitting. They're never going to get through that, man.
Never.
That's never going to happen.
No.
That's the mental part that we were talking about. It's just they're going to think they're going to fail all the time and think that perception in your brain is automatically going to set you up later on. Even if you did it for like 3-4 weeks, a month, 2 months, at some point, if you think you suck at something, you're just going to quit and just say, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, because people get in, or they get really hooked on it, is that love of pain. Right?
Yeah.
They like to get beat up.
And I used to be like that, man. That's how kind of trainer I was. I suck, dude. If I now went to me when I was like 27, I'd be like, dude, you're a fucking terrible.
Awful trainer.
Yeah, you are awful. You want people to throw up.
Yeah.
You want, burpees and all that stuff. I mean, I'm sure the comments will go crazy, but burpees are the dumbest exercise I've ever seen.
I do them because they're because they're
but
they're
I'm
applicable to my
assuming
sports.
you do them right.
Well,
what sport do you do?
So Spartan racing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they make you do burpees, right? And
I was like, because there's a thing that goes around, like Ben Bruno talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, there's nothing
I've
in
never
any
made
sport.
a client do burpees, by the way, ever.
Oh, okay.
I've never made a client online program or
that would be crazy because you can't even watch them what they're doing.
Yeah. And so I'll send out workouts like that say burpees, but they're not programmed for anybody. They're just like a book that I do my toughest workouts.
Of course, sure.
If somebody wants to jump in, cool. But an actual coaching client, no, we never do burpees.
Yeah.
And if we do, it's because they're an athlete, right? Like a former college quarterback who's like, hey, I want to get ripped. Okay, maybe we could play around with them if you want to have some fun. But the general population, no, dude. Yeah. It's too risky, man. It makes no sense.
There's no, as somebody I know always says, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. A lot of things in fitness, a lot, like back squatting.
Yeah, I mean, tough. I do goblet squats pretty much for all my clients.
That's all I do. That's all I do, man. I do it one leg, single leg stuff, split squat stuff, front.
Yeah, I like split squats too.
I mean, if I have guys that want to back squat,
Yeah.
they have to be so strong for me for a general person doing fitness.
Yeah.
I guess it's an ego thing. I haven't back squatted in
I hate back
at least
squats.
5 years, maybe longer. You know what I mean? One, it's not great for me. I have some lower lumbar issues, but
Yeah.
I just don't. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. You can
Right.
change tempo with a lighter weight and a goblet squat and
Yeah.
make it just as challenging as squatting 500 pounds.
For
Well, maybe
sure.
not, but it's something. It's not beneficial.
I
enough
never
to
feel
do it.
good after a heavy back squat session.
I never. I mean,
I
I
feel
can't
terrible.
remember when I've never liked squatting in the first place. So maybe
Yeah.
that's my bias towards it since I
Yeah.
was a kid. But I love deadlifting. I love deadlift variations.
Yeah.
Everybody in my program learns how to deadlift.
What's
We
your
have a
favorite type of
progression.
deadlift for the general pop?
Oh, trap bar
I was
for
gonna
sure.
say trap bar's the bomb.
100%.
So
Again,
safe.
straight bars, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. If you
Yeah.
want to compete in powerlifting, then yes, we can get after that.
What
But
about, because a lot of people have gyms that don't have trap bars. You do like a
It's
dumbbell
tough.
suitcase deadlift or something like that, kettlebell.
Well, number one, I would say go to the GM and ask them to buy one because there's
Yeah.
no way that
they're not that expensive.
they're gonna get used.
Yeah.
I could understand you're like, oh, I want a Jacob's ladder. Well, that's $5,000 and
Yeah.
probably 5 people will use it. No,
Yeah.
a trap bar will be used every single day by the member base.
Yep.
So if they say no, then that I don't know what to tell
Not
you.
a new
But
gym.
right, yeah, yeah. But
Build a garage gym.
but I would use dumbbells with bands.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh,
I have
yeah.
an affiliate with this company that I need to set you up with. It's called
Sure.
Clinch Fitness.
Okay.
And they design these plastic, non-breakable handles that can hook into bands. Like there's
Ooh.
like hooks on each corner, so it's one here, and here,
Yeah.
and in the middle is the handle. And you can take 5 thick green bands that are like 125 pounds a band.
Yeah.
You could put 5 of them if you had to on there,
Oh, wow.
stand on it, and deadlift.
Oh,
So
wow.
all of our in-home clients, I send this like list of in-home stuff I recommend. That's
Yeah.
always number one.
Okay.
Because you can heavy lift with every part of their thing. It's
That's
amazing. It's
dude.
really amazing.
I got to get on that.
They're not
That's
great
amazing.
with social media, but it's a
Yeah.
great product. I
Holy
wish
shit.
more people knew about them. But you can do seated rows,
Yeah.
100, 200 pound seated rows.
Oh
it's
my God.
really you can wrap the bands into the handle
Yeah.
and put them in your suitcase, and you could travel with it.
Dude, that's
it's
sick.
really amazing. It's like I said, I want more people to know about it. I have zero to do with them as far as they don't support me, they don't pay me, I just
Yeah.
love what
Hey,
they do.
good stuff, yeah.
I really love what they do.
Helps
But
a lot of people.
yeah, if you can't find a trap bar at the gym, if you're gonna straight bar, I just do sumo all the
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
I mean, there's
Yeah, because it's just not as much
back
risk
share.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just
And
I like the
deadlift's
back.
not even a back movement, really.
No.
Anyway, it's people. I hate that bodybuilders have prescribed deadlifts as building your back. It doesn't really build your back. Rows. I mean, it does. There's back
I mean,
involvement.
I tell you, I mean, it's just me personally, but when I'm deadlifting consistently and a lot, my traps, my upper traps, and my back.
Probably
do
because
get-
you're
if
holding
you're doing
the weight,
it right. Yeah,
well,
if
with
you're
trap
doing
bar
it right,
deadlift,
yes.
for sure.
Yes.
But the front bar,
It's
or
just tough.
the,
Yeah.
over under front doesn't do a
It's
lot.
just I love it as a full body. It's a full body. If I
And your
couldn't
hips
do
are so
anything,
important.
I couldn't do anything. It would be deadlift.
I agree.
That's the only exercise I would do. When I'm in a pinch for time, I will just deadlift.
Deadlift every minute
Yeah,
on the minute.
that's what
Like
we were going to do
supposed
today. Yeah, I mean, I was so tired. But Kelly Starrett, Kelly Starrett.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a long
Supple
conversation with him about my back issues and it preventing me from deadlifting the way I wanted to. So, and I never really did every minute on the minutes before. And he was like, if you're just do 225 to start off and do 30 minutes every minute on the minute and do that for a while. And I did. Back felt great.
Awesome.
Went up to 315 every minute on the minute for 30 minutes. Was great.
Wow.
Then I started doing 2 reps every minute on the minute. Worked great. I never really lifted heavy deadlifts, and I got my deadlift up to like 550, which is the most I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't maxed in probably 3 years anymore just because, again, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
But I won't go over 315 for every minute on the minute.
How many? Just what, rep or 2 or 3?
One.
Oh, one.
One
Oh.
or 1 to 3.
Okay.
If you do 3, it's got to be lighter because the minute comes. You start getting in a minute 15, 16. It starts being a bear. In the beginning, you're like, oh, this ain't shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like 30 minutes in, and you're like, this is only
Dying.
315 pounds. But 225 is where I usually stick around with.
Okay.
And one, I try to get speed off the ground, so because it helps. I still play some competitive baseball, and
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
to stay in shape, or not even to be in shape, but to not get hurt.
Yeah.
So I try and do a lot of stuff that promotes speed. So speed off the ground with your deadlift.
Yep.
If I go too heavy, it's not happening. So I try and stay anywhere between 225 and 315, and depending on the reps. But I
like
go
that.
from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and
That's
I deadlift
sweet.
3 times a week.
Yeah.
I just change the variation. So I'll do
Oh,
single leg
nice.
deadlifts and a trap bar. We
Yep.
have a half trap bar,
Okay.
so it's cut in half.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've
And
seen
we
those.
we do either reverse lunge with it or a half split squat deadlift, which I love. And you can go super light. It doesn't add a lot of intensity, but it's
Yeah.
super effective for unilateral strength. So I do that 1 day a week. I do heavy 1 day a week, and then I do some sort of like dumbbell or trap bar light, or like rear foot elevated split squat, but in a
Okay.
deadlift without a squat. Do you know what I'm
Got it.
saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
put the
yeah.
I put the back leg up, but I don't bend the knee.
Yeah, you're doing
I
the
do a
hip
hinge.
hinge. Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, man.
I change it all up. Try and do some band work with deadlifts, but if I can't, like I said, if I can't do anything, it's always a deadlift. I
Oh,
always
man.
deadlift.
You mentioned baseball. I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about that. So you played baseball, but then how did you – well, let's talk about baseball
Yeah.
first. How long did you play
So
baseball?
I didn't play. I played in college
Okay.
1 year. I played my freshman year at a school in Chicago called Triton Community
Okay.
College.
Yeah.
It was an at that time it was an elite baseball school. We had
Sure.
14 kids on my team drafted.
Wow.
We were
Wow,
69-9. We were really, really good.
Yeah.
But I had arm issues in that summer, and from there I went back to and played football.
Were you-
Pitched.
Oh, you were a pitcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I played football through college, and then when I got done playing football altogether at like 32 years old, I started playing baseball again.
Oh, nice.
And I just play competitive old man men's league stuff. We
Yeah.
travel and play, but I like training baseball more than any other sport.
Why is that?
Well, there's a misconception that there's sport-specific training. And if you talk to the leaders, Mike Boyle, Eric Cressy, all those guys, they'll tell you that training baseball and training soccer and training football really isn't much different, okay? What the little bit of difference is for baseball is like kids don't need to be sport-specific training.
Right,
They
right,
should
right.
just train.
Athletics.
Yeah, they need to get stronger, learn how to move right, and
Yep.
going to a baseball or a football training person is one
Bullshit.
you probably it's bullshit. It is bullshit. I mean, if you go through my social media, I go hard on parents having kids being individualized in sports and kids doing sports specific stuff at such an early age. You need to
Yeah.
play, even if you suck, play other sports so you're moving in different planes. And you get there's so many repetitive injuries for kids now because they're just playing one sport year round.
Yeah,
And in Arizona, it's terrible because you can play baseball, obviously, all year.
For sure.
The weather's conducive to that. So
Yeah.
the reason I like baseball the most is because once they are into a strength base, we can specificize it a little bit more with like unilateral stuff. And I'm obsessed with the mechanics of like pitching and hitting.
Sure.
And we have some of the best guys in my area that teach that and have taught me stuff with that. So I learned from them. But trying to take the mechanics of those things and turn it into an exercise that is beneficial in those mechanics is why I like baseball the most.
Got it,
Football
got
is just be big, strong, fast. Learn how to move,
Learn how to hit.
get lateral movement. And I've learned that it just may be the athletes I've worked with, but I've learned that the baseball athletes, I don't know, they're more focused on being always there and consistent, not as flaky.
Yeah.
We have a basketball
technical.
program, we have a football program that's very good, but they just seem to bounce around a lot more to different people. My baseball, I tell you what, like I take it from Eric Cressy is like a pseudo mentor to me. He doesn't know me personally, but I take in everything he does. He trains the most baseball
He just got
players.
hired by the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
And for him to be able to do that and still them still let him do his stuff is unprecedented.
That's amazing.
He has 1,000+ professional baseball players that's come through his doors, right?
Yeah.
So for him to be somebody that I look up to, and I see how he started and where he is now, and that has a lot to do with my mindset when it comes to my gym now is baseball, softball focused. Now, I
Okay.
didn't want to do it that way, but it just because of where we're at and what
Spring
location
training
we're
area,
in.
yeah.
That I mean, we're inside of a 40,000 square foot baseball facility,
Yeah.
so I mean, I have to do what's
Yeah, take
there.
what's there, yeah.
But I just the thing with me with baseball is trying to get to these parents to know that you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Take the off season off and train in the off season instead of play in the off
Dude,
season.
that's what happened to me.
It
I
is.
played a lot of sports, and then once I hit my sophomore year in high school, I made a decision that I was going to focus exclusively on baseball and start traveling year round and playing
Ah,
winter, spring, summer, nonstop. Like I literally played baseball every weekend, every Thursday night, everything like in between from the moment I was 14 years old till I graduated high school, went to college, and I had so many injuries. So many injuries.
You
I got
did.
hurt my senior year in high school. I had the worst tendonitis, partially torn rotator cuff, like because I was a catcher.
Ah,
So as you can
yeah.
imagine, so I would not only would I play, but then to make extra money, we had pitching coaches come in from like the Yankees. Gary
Catch
LaValle
bullpens.
was one of them. Yeah, I'd catch bullpens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd pay me $10 a
Right.
guy,
Right.
and I'm sitting there thinking
Yeah.
nothing of it. Dude,
That's
I'm throwing
over.
like
Yes.
1,000 balls in 10 to 6 hours. Like it's
And that's
crazy.
another reason I love baseball because that's our wheelhouse. So we have guys that come in with shoulder issues, and just by the people I surround myself with.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. It's not a brag or boasting, but
Sure.
they're the best guys in the world.
Sure.
In the world, and I can hit them up and ask them, this guy's got this issue. He's got this, and this. I'm doing this with them. What else do you think I should do with them? And I'm not. People that don't know me watch me from afar think I'm cocky or I'm a know-it-all, which is not
Sure.
wrong. I mean, I admit it.
You're a
I
cocky
come off
asshole.
that way. I come off that way, but I'm also not. I'm not. I won't prevent myself from learning from people that I know a lot more about shit than I do.
Sure.
And I think that's the problem with our industry as a whole is that it's my way or the highway type stuff. That's not how I look at things. Now, if I think you're doing something wrong from somebody I don't know, I'm going to be suspect to them. That's just my judgmental ways, and I've tried to break that. But if I don't know anything, I know when I don't know something,
Sure.
and I'll try and find the reason or the answer for that thing that I don't know. And that's where I go to my guys that I trust and I respect. The shoulder is my wheelhouse now, and it's because I've learned because of baseball and training baseball players that shoulder health is much more important than shoulder strength. And guys
I
are always,
agree.
I want to throw harder. I want to throw harder. Yeah, that's cool. I want you to throw harder.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You start throwing harder without taking care of the thing that's making you throw harder, you're going to have some issues.
Big time.
So let's work on that. Let's work on not getting injured. And then on top of that, we'll do the things that you need to do to throw harder. But let's get to a place first that you're able to move the right way so that throwing hard doesn't put stress on a certain area that it doesn't need to be putting stress on in the first place.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's crazy because now I had bicep surgery this past year. I tore my bicep. It was terrible, but fixed it. And then now I'm dealing with the shoulder because the bicep tendon has now become so tight that I have severe shoulder pain.
Yeah, I was telling you some things.
I'm trying to get through it, man.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Landmine presses.
Yeah.
You do a lot of those.
I
Press this way.
Yeah.
You don't want to get to here because you don't need to get.
Yeah, I don't need to.
I mean,
Juice
yeah,
isn't worth the
no,
squeezing.
it's not.
I'm not
it's
doing
not.
the-
At some point you will, but you got
Yeah.
to be able to get the mobility in
Yeah.
there to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's
That's been a game changer, and I learned that from Eric Cressy's Sturdy Shoulder program.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's really good. It's so worth the money.
Probably should
and
get it,
It's so worth the money. And pressing makes you stronger no matter what plane that you're in. So if your mobility doesn't allow you to get overhead, there's no reason for you to be pressing overhead.
Right.
Pressing a different – I've had guys in the gym, the general pop guys, that couldn't lift like 2 pounds to here.
Yeah.
So they just thought, oh, I can't bench. I can't do that. I'm like,
Screwed.
okay, fine. That you can't. We're not going to do that. But landmine. Do shoulder cars, shoulder mobility.
Shoulder cars are
6
awesome.
months,
Yep.
they're like full range of
Feel
motion.
great.
And we've never done traditional stretching. We've just we've done strengthening in an end range, which Kelly's taught me.
Yep.
Strengthen what you can do. You strengthen in that area, and then work on the mobility part later. Don't press in a end range that you can't get to an end range in. So for people that don't know what I'm saying, it's like if you can't get your arm overhead, why the hell are you pressing anything overhead? Press something in the range that makes it comfortable, and then work on getting to that other range later. Then eventually you'll be able to get to that end range.
Yeah, people need to listen to this because, I mean, that's one thing I've learned. And, I've been a trainer for 15 years. Once again, similar situation where it's like, just because you know a lot, you encounter something that's novel and you're like, oh, shit. I don't know everything about shoulder health.
Oh,
right?
No.
Never had to deal with it. I was a kid when I hurt my rotator cuff, and I had terrible coaches.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was like, go
just
ice
non-knowledge. They didn't know ice.
Right. Yeah.
That's another. Don't get me started on ice.
Yeah. Go ice it, rest. Don't play. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Rice.
I got a scholarship. I got to play.
Rest, ice, compression.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Anybody that's listening to this, do not do that.
That's terrible.
Ice is the worst thing you can do for any sort of inflammation injury.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast. But trust me when I tell you
Ice
that's
is
not
awful.
Yes, it's not good for you. You know
crazy.
how ice was invented?
No.
About that injury?
No.
So I keep referencing him. He doesn't even know me, but Eric Cressy has a podcast, and he had the guy that invented this, wrote this book about icing and all kinds of research. It's an awesome podcast. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's popular. It's a popular episode of his, and he did this research. Well, a long time ago, before emergency medicine was even around, this kid got his arm cut off. And this is paraphrasing. I don't know if this is 100% correct, but got his arm cut off. Yeah. And they wrapped it up. This really innovative doctor said, bring me the thing, put it on ice, blah, blah, blah. Well, ice obviously stops blood flow.
Preserves.
Right. It preserves the tissue. And they reattached the short version, they reattached the limb. And then because of that, he said that it was you didn't want the blood to flow, so his arm was elevated. His iced the area so blood wouldn't flow, compressed the area so the blood wouldn't lose blood, and then elevate it so the blood wouldn't come out. So that's how rice was invented. And I don't know how it just kept
it somehow leaked into something
for so long, and now it's way better to compress, and movement in the joint is whatever you can do. So if you sprain your ankle, don't ice it. You wrap the shit out of it, and then when the pain starts going away, you try and do small movements to get range of motion back. The sooner you get range of motion, the better and the more frequent the injury will dissipate. So.
Yeah. I think the icing, too, for a lot of people is probably a mental thing, because it kind of takes their mind off of the pain for like 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you should just immediately start to wrap, typically, unless
it
hurts so bad.
It prevents healing. Because there's no blood flow going to the area.
Yeah. You want blood. Blood's the transportation mechanism.
That's why. That's how. What's it called? BFR came into effect.
Yeah.
Blood flow
That's
restriction.
great for injuries, by the way.
It's the best for injuries.
Yeah. I've done that with my knee. I had knee issues this past year, and I would I'd basically BFR my quads and my calves and whatnot to kind of get the blood pooling in my knee as much as I could. And dude, it helped a lot. I could then go run, for a much longer period of time than I was trying to do before, where I was just trying to push through the pain. But doing BFR was tremendous, man.
Well, I have a kid. Shout out to Jake Liepert. He's over at Pima Community College. He was 2 days away from signing his letter of intent to go to Mesa College, which is a Division II in Colorado. Tore his ACL. Oh. Dude, he was devastated. Okay, surgery, blah blah blah. Got cleared. Did BFR every single day. Was back full college basketball type of participation in like 7 months, not 9, which is usually the norm. Now he has multiple Division I offers. He's averaging almost 30 a game as a freshman at a junior college. He's going to play 1 year and transfer. He's going to have 3 years with a red shirt at a major Division I school. And I think a lot of the reason he got to come back and changed mental because he kept training through the injury, and we did BFR, so he didn't lose a lot of atrophy in the leg, and that's what slows down recovery. It's not that the joint the knee's probably more stable than before you injured it. The problem is you have so much time off that the atrophy in the injured leg takes a long time to be able to build back up to the point where you can be you can support that injury.
Yeah.
So what BFR does is allow you to train without a lot of resistance. So the intensity doesn't happen. You don't have to squat or be able to squat a lot of weight to be able to get the benefits of getting the blood flow, and the atrophy doesn't take over. So, it was a really eye-opening thing. I had just learned what BFR was right before that happened, which was weird. But what turned into what he thought was going to be a bad thing, not getting his letter of intent, has now actually been the ACL has been a blessing, because now he's getting a big-time D1 offers. It's just awesome, such a great story.
Yeah, it goes, I think, for all limbs, because I can do BFR with my bicep too, because the bicep atrophied a lot.
Yeah.
But the tendon and the repair was stable. Even my doctor was like, dude, you could, the tendon's not going to snap again. It's freaking locked in. Once you've let it recover and heal enough, you're ready to go. But the bicep was small.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel as strong. So I just, BFR, you can start to do, 10-pound dumbbells in your arms.
You're just doing one side?
I do
when you were
unilateral.
rehabbing.
Yeah, a lot of unilateral stuff. But I actually continue to train this through the injury, because I wanted to make sure that, I kept my training as consistent as possible, even if it was just the good side, for a long time, because that translates to keeping the size and the injured side as well, just that neurological connection between the two. So I was still doing, my normal stuff with this, and then once I got back into this, I didn't lose as much strength as predicted, but it looked small, and it didn't have that same, I've always had very strong arms. The fact that I even tore a bicep was mind-boggling to me, but for whatever reason I did. So then, at the end of the day, now I started to notice, just by doing some BFR, but also the continued training in this side, the size has come back a lot faster than anticipated, right?
Good.
But initially it was just holy fuck, it's so small. Where did it go? It was like a balloon that you just popped. It's just very
I've had
crazy.
ACL surgery, and it's been 30 years since I've had it, and my leg still isn't the same size as the other leg. It's weird.
That's crazy.
There's no loss of strength, none of that. It's just
different size.
The teardrop on my left leg is a lot smaller than the one on my right leg. Wow. And I think if I would have been they didn't know about BFR then.
Yeah.
But it might be something I play around with to see if I can change it now, but I doubt it. It's just
blood flow restriction training is a good one. A lot of people,
they do it for pump and do it for aesthetics. It's not
bullshit.
really. Yeah, it's not. It'll make your veins pop out of your skin, but that's not what it's for.
No.
It's just such a great tool for rehab.
Fitness takes shit and fucks it up.
Yeah, they sure do.
That's crazy.
They do.
It's my biceps. We tie a rubber band around. I was like, dude, your pump's gonna go.
I saw an ad today. It was a targeted ad, I guess, because I live in Arizona. But this guy's selling this online program, and he's giving $2,000 away to somebody. And then he showed a picture of him, and he's like, it's called Physique something. And showed a picture of him. He's pretty jacked. And then they showed a full-length picture of him. Dude, his legs are like the size of that tripod. I was like, dude, just stick to half-frame shots. Yeah, you'll be good, man. Don't show your legs.
Fire your marketing team immediately.
Come on. Well, that does that. Whatever.
Dang,
but man. It's just it's a weird space and time that we're in when it comes to, the fitness space, the transformation space, the lifestyle space, and then social media at the same time.
Dude,
you just gotta be aware of what you're watching. You know? And I'm not saying that I'm full. I try to be as transparent as possible when I talk. I mean, I'm not going to talk about when I have had a shitty day and I'm depressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not everything is what it seems on what you're looking at, but you can kind of gauge if you pay attention to somebody whether or not they're authentic or not.
Absolutely.
And I think people just jump into these things, and that's what people bank on that are selling it. They bank on the people that are just boom, jump. I'm jumping in. Boom,
short attention spans.
Yeah.
That looks good.
If you're going to do something, by all means do it, but look at it first. Check it out first. Know what you're doing. Yes.
Yeah, that's we play the long game on my side, right? We almost look at our company as kind of what happens after somebody buys some of this stuff, right? We're not necessarily out there trying to get you to impulse buy. Because,
exactly.
coaching and even our digital courses, yeah, we want you to get into it and be, trust us, number one, right? Trust us enough to consistently follow something, and that requires playing the long game, even in a very short attention span environment, right? Where people want something now.
Yeah.
We're looking at it as like, hey, we'll be here after you've done all this
Yes.
other bullshit.
That's my favorite thing. When somebody maybe has left, they want to change,
Yeah.
which is fine, but then they come back. That's my favorite
That's
thing
the
that
best.
happens. Yeah.
Because they realize, dude, you were right all
Yeah,
along.
well, that plus, I'm like I said, fully transparent. When someone signs up with me or inquires, I'm like, listen, this is not for everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's online, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
Some people need that appointment to show up to. That's totally fine. If that's what you need, then this is
Probably
what
not
we're
for
going
you.
to do. Yeah, it's not going to work. I mean, I talk to my people sometimes daily, at least once a week, and we do a video call. So it's not as hands-on as you would maybe need, and if that's the case, then this isn't the program for you. If you have to have some discipline, and you have to have patience. If you don't have patience, again, it's not going to work for you because one, you're going to blame me. You think because it didn't work, but you didn't give it time to work because again, it's not going to happen in 3 months is a good gauge, but it's still not even going to happen in 3 months. What you want is not going to happen in 3 months.
Sure.
You'll see something. You'll definitely see something that it's
You'll
working.
feel better.
Right. But it's not going to work. You're not hitting your end goal if you have a lofty issues. You can't jump into saying, I want to hit this goal in 3 months. Well, okay, but I don't know what your goal is. And if it's this, there's no way. I'm just going to tell you. Anybody that tells you that, okay, let's do it, they're just trying to get you
trying to get the
money. Yes.
Yeah. No, I tell people all the time, like, even if, let's say you did hit your goal in 3 months, you have to look at it as the rest of your life is a series of checkpoints, right? You're now making a switch. You're literally saying, hey, I'm doing a 180 basically from unhealthy, not taking care of myself. And yes, I want to look a certain way, and I want to lose all this weight, and I want to feel amazing. I want to look like that guy or this girl or whatever. And yeah, ultimately you could get to that point. But once you get to that point, the last thing you want to do is then do another 180 and go back to where you started. So the rest of your life is now opportunity for you to reach different goals. And maybe it's performance-based. Maybe you want to go play intramurals or like you want to join a men's baseball, like whatever.
Yeah.
You can accomplish a lot. And so the next phase of your life, which is the rest of your life, is about having those different checkpoints. And the next checkpoint might take a while to get to.
Yeah.
Just that first one. But once you reach that one, then the world is your oyster. You're like, okay, now I've lost all the weight. Now I'm athletic again and I feel great. And I can start to pursue a Spartan race or this or whatever, right? But people want to get to that first kind of like, oh, I look the way I want to look. Dude, you did 15 plus years of this shit. Give it at least 5 years, 5 months or some shit, right? At least.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Let's jump into some current events,
Sure,
brother.
sure,
We're crushing it. I love it. I know we talk baseball. Actually, that's what I want to start with because there's some shit going on, man.
Did you see that trade last night?
That's what I want to talk about, man. We
Dodgers are getting after it.
The Dodgers are not afraid. Well, it's funny. They're not afraid to spend money, I guess, but they're actually. This is one of the
They're
moves.
spending the most money now. They got Mookie Betts.
Yeah, here we go, Mookie Betts. This is interesting though because he's a guy that he's already made it clear though that he's going to test the open market after this year. So he's like a rental for a year.
Yeah, he is, but
if they win the World
why
Series,
wouldn't he want to be in L.A.? He's trying to build his brand.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't know much about him, man.
oh, dude, he's the man.
I know he's a great player.
Yeah.
But I mean, personality.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Did you know he's like he's a borderline professional bowler?
I did know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's freaking amazing.
He actually,
bowler.
there's a YouTube video of him
Yeah.
bowling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen
he's
that.
an amazing bowler. Amazing. I mean, what they gave up and what they're getting, I mean, I just don't. They're getting after it.
The Red Sox got kind of gypped, man. Or is they just dump salary? Basically?
Well, they got a guy, a minor leaguer, who's a top level arm. He's a 100+ arm, a minor leaguer.
Okay.
And
they got some prospects.
I think. I think right now, the Dodgers have the better of the deal, but I think in the long run, it might not. If he bolts next year, then they definitely didn't get the better of the deal. It depends. How do you value a World Series? They win a World Series, I'm sure they don't give a shit who they gave up.
Yeah, they don't care.
If they don't, on paper right now, I cannot see a I don't see a better team in the NL.
No.
The staff, they got David Price, dude.
They got David Price. Yeah, that was that kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah,
Everybody's talking about Betts.
It sure did. I didn't even see it until
Price was
recently.
Great arm, especially come playoff time. Somebody
well,
gets
think
hurt
about who they have on their staff. Now he's not the guy, and he doesn't have to be the guy anymore.
Yeah, they got Kershaw.
They got Kershaw. They got Bueller. They got. Yeah. I mean, they
got a couple youngsters
filth.
too.
They are filth.
They'll have no issue winning
the
West.
They're the filth.
Yeah. As a Cubs fan, I can appreciate it because they've recently the Dodgers have had a couple heartbreaking seasons where they've gotten this close. One of which was the other thing I want to bring up, which is the Astros. Now they're I saw Pete Rose is petitioning to try to get back into the MLB because of what happened to Houston.
That's like comparing apples and rocks.
It's
so
different
stupid.
Things.
I mean, I've gone back and forth on the Astros because when it first came out, I'm like, listen, everybody's doing it. They're just better at it.
Yeah.
They've figured it out how to do it better. Then I talked to my guys that are actual players, and they've changed my mind on it a little bit. And then I look at how it's affected other players. Like, for instance, there's a guy, I believe, I can't remember for sure if he was on I think he's on the Dodgers. His last start was last year in the big leagues. He's in the minors. He has not pitched in the big leagues since this start because he got lit up.
Shelled.
And they found 80 or 70 garbage can hits during his outing.
Oh, my God.
Which then takes a completely different mindset of mine is like, this guy's been trying to get to the big leagues his whole life, gets up there, and they do something which I didn't know that it's written that you can't use external
video
ways to steal signs. I didn't know that.
Imagine that. I mean, imagine if you could.
Well, yeah, but sometimes they don't think of things and they won't put it in the rules, so then technically it's not cheating. But now it is in the rules, so they did cheat. But everybody steals signs.
Well, yeah, baseball, that's part of the game.
And they figure out different ways. So, and I can't remember who said it. Ozzie Guillen at Sox Fest, which I don't pay any attention to because I hate the White Sox.
Yeah.
But he said, what the other team managers, I always knew that the Astros were doing that. So you know what we did? We changed the signs every inning.
Right.
Or not. It might not have been the Astros. It was whoever the team was. We knew that something was happening. Oh, it was with Esteban Loaiza or Contreras. It was Contreras. Jose Contreras. Every time he threw a splitty, it was getting crushed.
Yeah.
Crushed. And they didn't know why. Because to crush a split finger consistently, you have to be
You have to know it's coming, yeah.
Yeah. So he figured, and they just started changing the signs every inning, and then it went away. Why don't you just do that? Why doesn't that just – that
Especially
should be –
in playoffs.
Well, it should just be in place now at all the time.
Yeah.
Because
I was a catcher. We change it all the time.
Yeah, in game you should change it. Yeah,
It
shouldn't be a guy on second. It's a second signal. Okay.
Right. Duh.
If I touch my chest, it's this. If I put whatever. But I have friends that played in the big leagues that can watch a pitcher and know what they're throwing by their tells. Now, I won't say who because he's asked me never to talk about it. But there's a certain team that plays a certain pitcher for the past 3 years, and if you look at his ERA against this team, it's in the tens.
Wow.
And that's because my boy was an advanced scout for the other team and knew when he was throwing his really slow curveball and when he was throwing a fastball. He's legitimately dominant all the time, and against this other team, and especially in the playoffs, he's got a horrible
I might
ERA.
know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to be cryptic about it, but he's no longer with the team anymore. So
Okay.
Whatever. But you don't know. So you, as a pitcher, sometimes you don't know that you're doing certain things.
Yeah, it's like poker.
And
you don't know.
And that's another whole nother aspect.
I don't even look at that as cheating. That's just
not cheating. And I don't think sign stealing is cheating either.
No.
But when you're doing it the way they do it, I've come around to think, it's not good.
Yeah,
but now,
crazy.
Chris something today or yesterday came out and said, I was the first person to ever use the Apple Watch, and when I was with the Yankees. This is all coming around because of me. The Yankees are the ones that started this because I was the first person that's doing that.
I remember something about that. Reading about that, somebody had talked about.
And they got rid of the app. You couldn't watch
Apple
Watches anymore.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago or something.
I just don't know how you could get the information that fast to an Apple Watch.
No, the video makes sense because it's a live stream. You're just watching.
Yeah, and
got the
bang. or the
Did
whistling.
Did
with
you hear
the
about
Dodgers.
the other thing with the chest wire?
Vibrator, yeah.
That to me pissed me off. Only because then I'm like, well, wait a second, because as a hitter,
Time
right?
will tell, though.
Sure.
Those guys that were really good. We'll see what happens now.
You see their home average versus
Yes.
their away. I was like, holy
but that's
shit.
kind of normal, but just
Sure.
not that. That's
It was a big
there
gap.
was drastic.
It was
yes.
like 150 away,
Yes, it was
420 at
yes,
home. I'm
it
like,
was
wait a
drastic.
second.
It was drastic.
These guys were having MVP seasons every year.
Yes.
We'll see, man. Altuve, I've always thought of him as a high-class guy.
I mean, he could still be.
Could still be.
Dude,
Well,
you're talking about
though.
You're talking about tens of millions of dollars.
Shit, man.
That's why I'm talking about the steroid era. Okay,
Yeah.
if you're an average player, and you know if you take some stuff,
Yeah.
you're going to be an above-average player.
Yeah.
Because all the difference between hitting 250 and 300 is like a double a week.
For sure.
One double a week during the season, or a home run. So if taking something is going to get you 40, 50, 60, 100 million dollars, every single person will say yes.
For sure.
And the guys that aren't, I think one are lying. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
Some
I don't
guys
know
don't
what to
need
say
to,
to that.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but Bonds was a Hall of Famer before anything.
Right. He was a great player.
He was always a Hall of Famer. For him to not be the Hall of Fame.
Player.
I mean, we're getting off on a tangent because of me, but the Hall of Fame is the biggest joke to me in all of sports, dude.
Political.
It's all
bullshit.
writers who's never played are all voting. Okay, they all have this holier than thou attitude that there's nothing's bigger than the game. Blah 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 blah. Well, then you should take Ty Cobb out of the Hall of Fame. If you should revoke his status as a Hall of Famer. Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa, Palmeiro should all be in the Hall of Fame right now. There shouldn't be voting for it every single year and then missing it out. It's just it's insane. They're the best players at that time. They're the best players of all time. Absolutely. I don't care what they were taking. Pitchers benefit from steroids way more than hitters do. Way more. Their recovery time is cut in half, if not more, okay?
Crazy.
And there's nothing more beneficial to any baseball player than recovery. So being a pitcher that can throw on 2 days rest as opposed to 5 is a humongous difference.
It's huge.
Yeah.
There's so many guys using steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, in every sport.
Yes.
I mean, look at
the
fighting.
only sport I'm against it in is fighting, is because you can physically really do damage to somebody if you're
But even
super
those
strong.
guys are
they're
finding a way to get around the
it.
tests,
They're
even though
doing
they have the most stringent testing
Yeah.
ever. But it's curious. I'll be curious to see how the Dodgers do, because they've been so close now, and now they're it's funny, they're calling for a parade because the Astros beat them or whatever in that World Series where they were cheating. I'm like, guys, look, baseball, it's a fraternity. Right, so you're telling me that nobody fucking knew?
They know. Of course
they know. So if you know, then you got to say like the Nationals probably knew pretty damn well. And look what they said. Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
They change the signs.
Change the signs every
they
batter sometimes.
That is
you know
what
what
they
I mean?
did.
Like
they whooped them
and they destroyed them. So you're telling me the Dodgers knew? They just were. They still got beat.
You still got to hit the ball, by the way.
Still got to do it,
which is ridiculously hard to do.
I know.
It's much easier when you know what's coming, but
Pete Rose wants to get back in.
I just don't even like him.
I feel
a lot of old school people love him, and
I don't love
whatever.
or hate him.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Just be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, who cares? Like I said, I don't give a shit about the Hall of Fame, anyways. But I mean,
you see this shit? Nancy Pelosi. This is here in D.C. This happened last night. So Trump gave his State of the Union. She invited him to give a State of the Union during the impeachment process, and he didn't shake her hand. I don't know if you saw the clip.
I literally run as far away from politics now as I used to.
And this is why I do.
It's just so.
This is why I don't care about
politics.
politics.
It makes zero difference in my life now.
Same.
None. Any policy they put out, whatever, it doesn't affect me at all. And I used to get into these so horrible fights with people. And I care about a human being. I don't care what you think. I don't care about your policy. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I have hardcore right friends that I disagree with every viewpoint that they have, but they're still my close friends. Okay?
Same here.
And I'm getting sick of the far left as well. I'm left. If you want to say anything, if I want to say something, I'm left. Okay, but I'm not they're getting the cancel culture of that, the demonizing every single little thing, the whole bullshit with the Super Bowl, all that stuff drives me crazy. Crazy. Cancel culture drives me crazy.
Yeah.
The Me Too movement started as something super positive. It's turned into a nightmare of bullshit that nothing you're guilty until proven innocent. You're having guys that have consensual sex with somebody, but it's an affair.
Yeah.
Or that they're higher than the other person, being lumped into, rapists, which is not right. Did they do something wrong morally? Probably, and yes.
Sure.
But did they break the law? No. Did they do something horrible? No. This guy did. So these two should not be together.
Shouldn't be talking
at all.
about the same
so
breath. Yeah.
I stay so far out of freaking politics.
This
now,
is
it's
why,
possible.
though, because
it is why
they're children. They act like they're the ones acting disgraceful. Like Trump's not shaking her hand, and then she at the end, she rips up his speech on public TV.
Oh,
she pulled it up and she made sure the camera saw it too, because she ripped it like 4 times. She ripped it one way, then she picked up another piece and ripped it. And now, of course,
my thing with him is, if he was a Democrat, I would still not like him.
His personality,
because I don't like him. If you hear me talk about him 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I say the same thing. When he was on The Apprentice, said the same thing. He's a tool.
Yeah,
okay?
his personality's always been this way.
He's the president of what a douchebag is.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with being a president. He's the president of being an asshole, and I don't like assholes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't care what side he's on. I don't care what his policies are. I don't care about any of that. He's just a jerk off.
I just don't care about politics in general.
I don't either.
And it's funny though,
I
in
care
events
about
like
movies
this,
and TV and
sports.
sports.
Have you seen? That's another topic. Have you seen? Because we have the Oscars coming up this weekend, I think, right? And so, have you seen 1917?
Of course.
Did you like it?
It was awesome.
Yeah, I think that's.
It shouldn't win, but it's awesome.
What should win? Do you think?
Joker.
Ooh, really?
I loved it.
First person I've heard to say that.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen it 4 times.
Not best actor. Everybody says best actor because, of course, Joaquin Phoenix deserves the best actor.
I think Adam Sandler got screwed.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was
and I haven't seen
shocking.
Parasite, but you keep telling me to see that.
that's my pick for best picture. Though.
I know. I just have a hard time with subtitles, dude.
I do too. I don't watch any movies with subtitles.
Really?
I went to the movies. Funny story. Didn't know it was subtitles. I got into
the
theater.
You didn't know? Okay.
Because everybody was
I think
like,
that's
Parasite's
worse,
the bomb.
though. I think it's worse when it's dubbed in English. Than I would rather.
No, it wasn't dubbed in English.
Right. It's subtitles. But
Yeah.
my point is, there was a show on Netflix that everyone said was amazing, but it was a German show. I can't remember the name of it.
And it's
Dark
dubbed?
Mirror.
Oh yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
And I was
it's
like,
dubbed.
I'm looking at it real close. I'm like, I don't think they're really speaking English, and it's coming out in English. I'm like, fuck this. I can't watch this.
No, I'd rather be subtitles. Than
Yes,
that.
I
don't
would
like
totally.
the fake shit.
Yeah.
You can talk your language, I'll figure it out.
For sure.
Right? No, I can't do that. But I went into the theater because everybody was like, it's the movie of the year. So I was like, fuck, I'll go watch it. And it's subtitles. I'm like, fuck. But then I gave it a shot. I was like, all right, I'm here.
Everyone I know that's seen it said the same thing.
My brother, who's a diehard war movie guy, like he's like, oh, 1917 was the shit. He finally saw Parasite the other day and was like, dude, that's the movie of the year.
So is it okay to see it on video?
Yeah.
Not in the theater?
No, watch it at home.
I will have
It's
to.
actually a great movie to watch at home.
Okay.
Yeah, theater is like 1917.
I usually say everything. I did not see that.
Uncut Gems was my third favorite movie. Well, Joker and Uncut Gems were my kind of like my round out for the top 4 of the year.
Brian's in the Joker.
He is. I caught him.
You did?
Yeah, I caught him in the scene.
Most people. Okay.
Yeah. No,
you
I
can
knew
hear
right
his
away.
voice. Yeah, you can hear if you know his voice, you can hear him talking.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I was like, oh, because he's friends with what's his name, Phillips, right?
Yes.
Todd Phillips is
he's
his
in
boy.
every one of his movies.
Hangover.
People go hard on him for that movie. I'm like, yo, were you in that movie? I don't care.
Who goes hard on what?
Everybody. His friends make fun of him.
Oh, for
the Joker because he's. Oh, I didn't see it. I blinked. Okay, whatever.
Oh.
Dude, I mean,
That's
were
so
you in
funny.
it? Because you weren't.
Yeah.
So who cares? If
He has a little cameo.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
No,
I loved
it's
that
awesome.
movie. I loved it.
I mean, by the way, who else is in Joker
Yeah.
besides Joaquin Phoenix? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Because he's the whole fucking movie.
Zoe Betts, who's a dime piece, but that's,
Yeah, but do you remember her?
No,
Fuck
no,
dude.
no, it's him.
It's Joaquin.
It's him, man.
There's some good actors in that movie.
Fuck,
But
yeah.
you don't
Mark
remember.
Maron's in it.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro's
One of the
in it.
cops, I forget his name, great actor, but I can't remember his fucking name because Joaquin Phoenix stole the show.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, dude, I'm all about. We'll see. He'll win Best Actor. Adam Sandler got gypped. He should have had a
He
nomination.
should have at least been nominated for
And the movie too. The movie should have been nominated for Best Picture. My wife loved. We both loved it. It was awesome. Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. 50 years, right?
Yeah, I kind of felt for them like I did for the Cubs fans.
Same. Yeah.
I don't have a dog in that. I don't really.
Yeah.
The older I get, the least I care about who wins in sports.
Yeah.
You know, I just like watch.
Unless my team's in
I
it.
watch less football than I have ever watched. You know, probably because I don't gamble anymore, also, which helps. But I really didn't care who won. I think this is going to be not a popular viewpoint, but I think Mahomes is like in the moment type of culture. It is being way more pumped up than he really. I mean,
You think he's
by
overhyped?
yes, by all means, he's very good and I mean, great. Whatever you want to say,
stacked weapons,
right?
man.
Dude, his supporting cast is out of this world. Number one, he should not have won. That was a gift to give him the MVP.
Oh, of course.
Damian Williams
was
easily should have won the MVP, but to build around, you know, it's a really good play.
He does all the commercials now.
Yeah,
You know, he's the new Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers getting phased out.
Dude, there's guys that say that he's a Hall of Famer already. I mean, come on, let's slow down.
Yeah, because
I won't even say who that is, but that guy should be off TV.
Because what is he in his third year, right? Now, I give him that. He's done a lot. In 3 years.
MVP,
Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
So now it's like the bar
He is
set.
great. He's just not. Let's slow down.
You keep weapons around him, he's gonna
slow down.
He's gonna win a lot.
They said the same thing about RG3.
Yeah. Well, look at Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, and everybody he gives the biggest contract in NFL history, and he's fucking
They
terrible.
said the same
after
thing
that.
about Colin Kaepernick. They said Ron Jaworski said it on live television. He is going to be
one of the best of all time.
Oh,
sure.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I remember the hype around Kaepernick was unbelievable, and he never even won a Super Bowl.
No.
He made it, but he never won. He lost to Flacco.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm always careful. Football is one of those games you have to be careful.
San Francisco lost it. Kansas City didn't win it.
And that's the thing. See, imagine if they had beat them. What's the narrative
Yeah.
then? Mahomes chokes.
Yeah.
He's not living up to the moment.
He had a
threw
bad
2
game.
picks.
He didn't have a great game. 280.
He had a terrible game. His arm looked like he was hurt, to be honest. His arm was not
I just think
there.
they did what they were supposed. They had a really good defensive game plan.
Yeah.
And nobody has this year yet.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, anyway. How many times you see him run around and do something? Maybe 2 times.
Yeah, he only rushed for I think 38 yards.
Yeah,
or something
it was not. They did. San Francisco did what they were supposed to do. They just
choked.
Yeah,
and Garoppolo kind of blew it too. He had some moments.
He had a bad fourth quarter. I like him though.
It was also coaching.
He should be a Bear.
Shanahan, yeah, he should have been. Shanahan overthought a few things.
He did that in the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
Atlanta, yeah. Same shit, man. Different day.
I feel bad for him, kind of. He's the darling of the
He'll
NFL
be back.
right
He'll
now.
be back.
But yeah,
they're a good squad. That defense is young. They got some young weapons. Garoppolo's a good quarterback. He's fine.
Their defense
Bosa
is
a
filthy.
monster.
So fast in the front 7.
Bosa is talk about family
my favorite.
genetics.
Oh
Jesus.
yeah, they have a high school brother now too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, they got another guy.
I feel bad for him though. He's not going to live up. If he's better than both of them, he is going to be ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, man. I think the other only other thing that still obviously, I mean, I'm not saying I'm not over it, but the pain started to subside a bit was the Kobe Bryant thing. I think what's crazy, man. The reason it was so heartbreaking for me was I was a Kobe Bryant fan of the basketball player. Jordan, diehard fan growing up, right? And so then Jordan retires, and it's like, who am I gonna fucking watch? Jordan was the bomb, like.
Post-retirement, Kobe is much better than Jordan. Post-retirement, being in the spotlight, doing more stuff. Jordan has been just you barely hear about him ever since he's retired.
He's
which is fine. Yeah,
Charlotte or whatever.
He's got the Jumpman brand and all that stuff. Kobe,
he's more of a private guy.
Yeah, he definitely is. And Kobe's been more. He won an Oscar. He's more of a spotlight in the spotlight, doing a lot of good stuff. The reason it affected me the most is because the day before that, a really, really close friend of mine for 30 years was killed the day before.
Jesus.
So it was heavy to see that, and then, Kobe dying was horrible. But he lived a life. He's had a full life, and his daughters and the girls on the plane did not, and that's what affected me the most about it. He would have affected thousands, if not tens of thousands of more people, which would have been great. But I would have loved to have seen what the future was going to be for Gigi and
and the other kids.
and the baseball coach. I know people that know him. I don't know him. I've never talked to him, but he's a junior college baseball coach legend in California, and his daughter was on there and another teammate. it just seems senseless after reading all the stuff that's been going around. And
Yeah.
who knows if it's all true, but it just doesn't seem like it was necessary for them to be doing
100%.
that.
It hit me hard because literally, so my son's first ever organized sport, he played some soccer, but it doesn't really count because it was whatever, it wasn't official. So he's 5 years old, signed him up for basketball. And I said, I'm going to coach because I know enough to coach kids, right? I played basketball as a kid, so I know enough. I'm not a high school coach or college coach, but I can coach little kids. So I was like, I'm going to coach his team. So I'm the head coach of 8 5-year-olds, right? We play basketball. So our first practice, we're practicing, time of our lives, man. I was like, this is awesome. I freaking love this. This is my purpose, man. I get to help kids.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. We leave practice. I pull up my phone. Kobe Bryant's dead. And I'm like, initially, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Then I read his fucking daughter was on the planet, and my
that
heart
was
just
it took
broke.
a while for me to find that out. But
Yeah, my heart broke because I'm like, the timing was so, and my son chose number 8, same number as
Oh,
Kobe
really?
Bryant.
Wow.
And it was like all this weird shit, and I'm like, dude, and so my thought was, you're right, Kobe lived an amazing life. I mean, a life that only so many people get to live. It's very rare. But if you can imagine being on the helicopter with your kid and her friends
That's
and whatever,
the part that
and
was
you're
killing
just
me,
like,
dude. The part
that
is
moment,
like, what
could you
was going
imagine?
on? Yes.
You're like, hey, babe,
Yes.
like,
Well, I don't
what
think
the
it went
fuck?
that way either.
No.
I think they
knew.
Well, they knew, and that's might be. I would rather just
Not
have it
know.
run into a side of something and be done
Fucking
with.
explode and
Yeah.
be dead. Fucking awful.
That, if it's coming down and coming down.
Yeah, and you start reading about like, and you're right. We don't know what's true and what's not yet.
Yeah.
The official investigation
Yeah.
has to come through, and I'm always careful with that. But the fog, I mean, bro,
Well,
they
nobody
had
was.
grounded
Yes,
all the
nobody was allowed to fly except him. That's kind of
celebrity, and typically I was reading from other helicopter pilots who chimed in on it. They said, it's not that Kobe's like you have to fly. It was just like the celebrity of like, okay, if I don't, then they're gonna find somebody else, and my job could be on the line down the road, and like that pressure.
The pilot.
Yeah, to get the celebrities
Yeah.
where they need to go, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like, well, hey, this guy pays me fucking bunch of money. I
Yeah.
need to keep my
Yeah.
gig. You don't want to be that guy who's like,
No.
oh, I grounded it.
Awful.
It's fucking terrible.
Freaking
man.
awful, dude.
Yeah, well, dude, how you feel, man?
I feel great.
Crushed it.
You want to keep going? No, I'm just kidding.
We can. No, we can definitely keep going. What's your so talk about your podcast? What's what's it
So
called?
I had one called The Hybrid Life.
Okay.
And it started as a fitness one. I just don't like only being a fitness person. I'm
Yeah.
known for that. I just don't. I don't know why. My degree's in theater. I have a minor in creative writing. I like that kind of stuff, the creative part of it.
Yeah.
And I really like doing podcasts. I got bored with just talking about fitness all the time. And because it's what I do, it's not who I am. So
Yeah.
I started trying to make it into more lifestyle stuff. And ideally, what I want to do is help people life, not just getting in shape. That's part of it, and it'll always be part of the way we affect your life, but it's not going to be, the main part of it. So,
Sure.
I love comedy, I love movies, I love TV, stuff that I think a lot of lifestyle entrepreneurs are against.
Yeah.
Because it's wasting time. I'm the opposite. Oh, read books, read books, read books. I don't. I maybe it's a bad thing to say, but I don't read. I never read books ever, and I'm not against reading books.
Sure.
I just don't have the attention span to sit and read a book. If I do have anything to do with the book, I'll pick and choose chapters and I'll listen to them.
Oh, okay.
But I learn from watching. I'm a visual learner, not an auditory learner.
Yeah.
I don't like reading and listening. I like watching. So if I want to know something, I research it and YouTube it and do it
Visually
that way.
dissect
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I do use a lot of audio through podcasts in the car because I'm driving a lot. But that is most of my podcasts I listen to are entertainment based, and then if I do want to learn something and there's an episode that's specific to something, then I'll watch that. But
Yeah.
that's what I tried. My podcast was that way. And I started a baseball one called The Baseball Life with all the guys that I know. And then because we opened the gym and it was a really quick thing, That I put that stuff off to the side, but I've realized that I enjoy that more than the other stuff. So this year, my goal was to start the two new podcasts. I'm going to still do a baseball one, but it's be called Chin Music.
Oh, nice.
And I hope nobody
that.
steals that. But it's going to be with me and one of my clients who is a 17-year professional player currently.
Oh, sweet.
He's starting his 12th year in AAA. So he has every story under the sun because he's been in the big leagues. He knows what it's like to be a road dog. He knows what it's like to be the old guy in the clubhouse. He knows all the big, because of him, we'll be able to get some guests, good guests. So we're going to start that one. And then I'm going to rebrand mine, The Hybrid Life, and we're going to call it K-Bay Knows Everything.
Nice.
And it's a play on words because everyone thinks I'm a know-it-all, but in reality, it's going to be mostly interview-based with people that I don't know anything about what they do.
Okay.
Like
cool.
I know what they do, but I don't know about what they do.
Yeah.
So I'm learning more. So I get to know everything.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of like what we're going to be going towards. We have the online program, which is Hybrid Fit Club.
Yep.
And that you can be either in person at the gym with that or, our online program. And that is what we talked about earlier. It's just a comprehensive custom training and nutrition plan that we also tackle what your lifestyle is like. So that's my biggest membership base is the online. It's weird. You would think that the gym would have more people, but it's not. And, that way you can touch more people worldwide. We have people in 8 countries and 60 different cities. So that's badass. That's I'm going to put a lot more emphasis on quality of content and the production of the podcast stuff.
Sweet.
The thing with that is once you start, you cannot stop with consistency.
No.
So now I'm starting all over.
You have to just get better.
I took like 6 months. It's been like 6 months probably since I released an episode.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm just starting all over.
Yeah. Once you open that box, it's like if you close it, people are like,
there's too much stuff.
Yeah. You got to keep
way
it
too
rocking.
much stuff out there.
How can people connect with you right now?
Super easy on social media. It's the Kevin Bay.
Sweet.
The Kevin Bay, only because someone took Kevin Bay and I couldn't get it. So what else? I put the in front of it. I hate numbers in your username, so I just put the. And then Hybrid Fit Club is easy. It's on Facebook and Instagram.
Sweet.
I'm going to start trying to do TikTok. I don't know shit about it, but I know that's the new that's the new real estate space that you need to get into early.
Yep.
I wish I was an original user of Instagram. I'm telling you. I didn't even know what it was. I wish I started doing the way we're supposed to do it then, because it would be a totally different ball game now.
It's all right, man.
But here's the thing,
Quality.
I put so much time and effort into trying to do good social media,
and
I get good traction here and there. I go on somebody's Instagram one time, and because of him, I get 300-400% growth in my Instagram. And there's nothing informative about any of the posts that we did. It's just because he has, 800,000 followers.
Influence,
It kind of pisses me off. I mean, it's great. I'm glad that more people get to see us, but it's frustrating. The social media is frustrating for me because if you look at the numbers and you think you're putting all this time and effort and work into something and you want people to see it and only 100 people see it, it's really...
It's annoying.
It can knock you down. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to keep doing it.
I just picture what keeps me and this is whatever my trick that I mentally use for myself. But I picture if these were real people in a room, right, and I only got 200 people to like my post, and I maybe see somebody else who has 5,000 likes, and I'm like, what the fuck? My post is better, right?
Yeah.
Well, if 200 people in a room, that's a shitload of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is a good way.
And
someone told me that.
Like that.
When I first started the podcast, I'm like, I only got 300 downloads. And they're like, that's 300 people that didn't hear you before.
I mean, imagine that.
You know what? That's true. That is true.
Imagine a comedy club with 300 people. That's a big ass
And
crowd.
so we have a YouTube channel. Again, it's called The Hybrid Life. But I've been slow on that because the time it takes to edit something and put into video. When I first started, I didn't know shit about editing, and I was learning it through YouTube. It would take me 7 hours or longer to edit a 20-minute video, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of time, dude.
If you don't know what the fuck
and
you're
I
doing,
only have 100 subscribers, and I don't. That's very frustrating to put 3 days worth of work into a video, and you get 300 views. That's very frustrating.
That's why I outsource the experts.
That plus
I'm
going to stop looking at numbers. I'm just going to do stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, so I don't care. I don't care if two people look at it.
Do it for the love of just producing shit that
if you're doing it to make money, that's a bad reason to get into it.
You're going to get frustrated quick.
Very, very. You got to be 5, 6, 10 years in before you want to make good
everything
money.
I do. I tell myself, obviously I have to make money. I have a family to support, but now that I'm at a certain point in business, a lot of things I do out of just the love of the game, right? The love of creating, the love of helping somebody, because I know that if I'm doing it out of love for it, and I would more than likely do it even if I wasn't getting paid, right? Then I know I'm going to eventually be okay, right? Because people are going to see the handwork that goes into it, the craftsmanship, the care, the attention to detail, and that'll ultimately result in financial gain. But I don't do it for that. I would do it even if I wasn't ever going to get paid. Like I do this podcast, and if you said you'll never make $1 off this podcast, I fucking still do it.
Of course,
with the same level of passion.
But it's hard for people in your group to.
It is because
to get around that.
They haven't got their wavelength, their vibrations, and their mental clarity to that level yet.
Well, or it's not their field. You know what I mean?
They're in the wrong field.
Yeah, they're in their field, and
it's
a job. It's their job. I'm talking about family-wise.
Yeah.
I am fortunate enough to have a super supportive spouse.
Sure.
Sometimes, she gets frustrated because it's not making money. My podcast doesn't make money.
Not yet.
But you have to be consistent and do it when it's not making money for it to eventually, hopefully, make some money or be monetized somehow.
Sweat and practice so you don't have to believe in war, right? That's the whole thing. That's it, brother. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
So glad.
Love it,
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you
one of
so
the good
much.
people, man. You're my boy.
Long time, short time friend, long time friend.
Yeah. Brothers from another mother, man. That's how we roll.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.